The Doctor Who Alhambra Podcast. Real Doctor Who fans with real Doctor Who opinions.
Hello and welcome to the Dr. Alhambra Podcast, episode 312 of the podcast. I am Brett, and sadly, my co-hosts in crime, the dynamic trio of Liam, Legion, and Robert, are still stuck in the Gallifreyan time scoop, so this is yet again a solo edition of the podcast. And I believe 313 will also be one as well, too. But fear not, because for the month of February brings hope and love and hopefully a look at the year-end review for 2023 and also some of the months that we did not get to. Either way, this episode is a special episode. It's not going to be a long one, but it's something that I've been toying around with in my mind for a while. And I've made mention of it previously. I know myself, Liam, Legion, and Humphrey have in previous times talked about this topic, but not necessarily focusing on it. And it wasn't until I was listening to a YouTube channel on comics that I felt really prompted to not only have a cut excerpt from it, but to kind of discuss this topic in general. And again, I do wish that I had Liam and Legion there so that I could get certain things bounced off of and kind of maybe pulled back and restrained from time to time. But I digress. This episode is focusing on the positives and negatives of reviews, specifically review sites. And I will tell you, I hope I came up with a very teaser-friendly title for this episode, because I will tell you, I don't mean to toot our own horn, but I believe firmly that the Dr. Alhambra Podcast has a great handle on, being rational regarding our reviews and our ratings. And just to pull back the layer a little bit, I feel as though it's taken me a while to figure out what and how I'm going to rate certain things. I have my own ratings, and I hope that as the audience has listened to me rate and review certain things, that as I give my thoughts and opinions and summation about everything, that it comes across that I actually legitimately am very predictable with my thoughts and my how I come up with my 7 out of 10, 10 out of 10, whatever. So I hope that, because I don't want to be unpredictable. I think unpredictability basically is hamming it up for no apparent reason. And if you're going to review something, I do believe that reviewing things requires predictability and consistency. And, I've said in previous podcasts, I hate giving things either a 10 or a 1. 1 basically means it is worse than, all get out, the dumpster fire on fire, and there is no redeeming quality for this thing ever existing. And I think 10 out of 10 is a perfect. I think that those people who give things 10 out of 10 or even 1 out of 10, I feel as though those are super hyperbolic. I said in the previous podcast that I believe that the future of reviews, the future of media, is not blog sites anymore, but it's going to be YouTube sites more, and similarly to podcasts, because some podcasters kind of simulcast to YouTube. However, I feel as though that is going to be the wave of the future, is YouTubers and reviewing. And I think the tricky part about it is finding the consistent voice, or finding those voices which you can rely on. And I believe, personally for me, that we at the Dr. Alhambra Podcast do a really good job of being consistent and being that voice that is reasonable. And again, if you have any questions, thoughts, or concerns, or want to pick our brains on certain things, please email the show at alhambraaudio@gmail.com. That is ALHAMBRA audio@gmail.com. You can tweet the show at Alhambra Podcast. DMs are open. I'd love to hear from you regarding anything that you have heard previously, or if you're listening to this in the past, in the future. So with that plug, I find personally, and I like it, I know to each their own. I generally tend to like to listen to sites that are a tad bit negative and those that are positive. I listen to more negativity because I want to hear what their reasons are, and I want to listen to their rationale for it. If there's no rationale for it, well, it's just negative to be negative. And I feel as though, especially with YouTube, with podcasting or whatever, I feel as though it's easier to constantly say that this is worse, and then the next thing, oh well, that was worse than the previous one. Well, then today this one is worse than the one from the other day, and obviously easily worse. And so I think there is this tendency to the thing that is most recently released be deemed as the worst. And so you're always moving the goalposts. And I feel as though if you're going to be consuming and reviewing media, you cannot move the goalposts. You need to have a consistency revolving around everything. And same thing with the positive. I cannot stand the positive stuff. I find there's more rationale sometimes in the negatives, because with the positive, it's like, well, yeah, that's nice, or I liked it. And there's no, why. It's, I liked it. And so I feel as though, listening and finding those true, honest reviewers that would give their opinion, whether they were like being paid and full-time YouTubers or podcasters, I think that is the struggle in which I think science fiction, fantasy, and in general entertainment media is at. To be able to listen to people's thoughts, disagree, agree, or whatever. And that's why I love doing the podcast with Liam. Myself and him generally don't see eye to eye on many things. The few things that we do agree with, it's one of those delights of joy. It's just like, oh my gosh, we agreed. Okay, it's almost some like, okay, turn off the lights. Let's leave this podcast on a high, because it is few and far between. Now, we go back and forth, and I'm always open to hearing his perspective, but generally, it's not that I have my mind made up. It's, I feel as though I have the right perspective, and he can have his perspective, and I will not force that upon anybody. But what I want to also focus on, specifically Big Finish currently, but also this can go for the new series of Doctor Who, is finding reviewers and voices that you feel as though that you can trust. And what I've done is I have, what do I want to do first? Man, if I could only bounce this off of somebody to figure out what I should do first. All right, what I'm going to do first is I am going to look, man, okay, this is doing in real time. Okay, least editing as possible, Brett. Let's do this. All right, I'm going to look at I have pulled up 6 titles from January 2023 to June 2023. They all have on the Big Finish website, the reviews and awards, which means that the Big Finish found and sought out quotations to use as a blurb for why people like this, and it should, people should purchase this and, help it to continue to grow and succeed and whatnot. So the first one I want to focus on, and I will tell you, I chose the ones I chose for specific purposes just to see if there is any variations between those sites and podcasters that review certain things regarding specific titles. So, and if I'm not being clear, hopefully as I go through this, it will be more clear. So I'm going to start off with January 2023. I'm going to look at the Diary of a River Song, Series 11, Friend of the Family. This is one of the few Diary of a River songs I never listened to. I have no skin in the game. And I'm just going to click on the reviews and awards. So we have, wow, there is a lot of reviews for this one. So we have Who Review, who basically said that this is flawless, a 5 out of 5. We have Cultbox, which gave saying that this is essential listening and a surefire classic, 5 out of 5. We have Indie Mac User, which basically gives a blurb. This is going to be one of those sets that shall be remembered for all the right reasons, 10 out of 10. Then we have the Sci-Fi Bulletin, says that one of the most complex and personal time travel stories I've heard from Big Finish, and one of the best too, 10 out of 10. And then Thoroughly Modern Reviewer says that this is Big Finish at their very best, 5 out of 5. So I am just reacting in real time. I pulled up only certain things because I just wanted to see if the voices or the reviewers were the same. I have no idea what to expect from month to month. But again, this box set, according to all the reviews on the reviews and awards, are perfect, and basically say that this is a near perfect or perfect box set, also being the last one of the series. So I'm kind of curious about that. It kind of makes me want to, I'm not going to lie, it kind of makes me want to pick it up and listen to it. Moving to the next month, I have the First Doctor Adventures, the Demon Song box set. Now, I have listened to this one, and I did not like the Demon Song. I found the Itcherton incident very interesting. So I think I gave it like a 7.5, maybe 8 or so, if memory serves me right. But yeah, so I'm going to click on the reviews and awards, and we got a lot of them here. All right, Sci-Fi Bulletin, once again, I believe. Yep, Sci-Fi Bulletin was, and so far, Sci-Fi Bulletin, 9 out of 10. Indie Mac User, 10 out of 10. Mr. TARDIS just says a really good box set. Have been watching the William Hartnell stories. Fits right into terms of Stephen Newton's portrayal. Okay, then we have, Who reviews. Give this a 3.5 out of 5, which is basically a 7 out of 10. And basically says this is a recommend. Okay, then we have Warped Factor, which basically says that, fantastic performance, blah, blah, does not give a rating for this one. And then the Host Productions basically says that if you're a Doctor Who fan, open to recasting, give this a go, because you might find that this being your favorite Doctor Who era. Now, that's a good, I like that. I like that. There is no 5 out of 10, 10 out of 10, whatever. I like that. That's a good tagline. I think that would be the strongest reason to pick it up. And there's a reason why it is at the bottom of the list, because the ones at the top of the list have numbers out of 10, and a couple of them have 10. All right, so then I'm going to go to March 2023. I'm going to be looking at the Fourth Doctor Adventures, Series 12, New Frontiers. So this is Series 12A. This features Time Heist. As of the day of recording, this is on a special Ice Warriors up to 40% off thing. So I did like Ice Heist. Attila the Lost I did not care for, but let's look at this. So we only got two reviews. We have Mr. TARDIS. So he is previously been reviewing one of these, has a tagline, and he basically says, for me, Ice Heist was a standout of this box. No out of 10 reviews. Interesting. And then we have the Tin Dog Podcast, who really says a big fan of the Neris Hughes character and hope she stays for more stories. Okay, again, no out of 10, but that's kind of interesting that we get, at least we get another reviewer that pops up from time to time. Again, month of April 2023, I selected the Robot 6. Yes, the Robot 6. More and more robots. So there is only one review for this one, and it is done by the Tin Dog Podcast. So still has we got lots of consistent reviewers, and it says, I have loved this series from the very beginning. It is one big narrative, and eventually these 18 individual tales are so strong. Okay? Then we move to May 2023, and I'm going to do The War Doctor Begins, Comrades in Arms, which I believe this one is, I think this is one of my favorite ones, because this is Mother's Love. Okay, no, sorry. This is, it's okay. I don't think this was my perfect one. I think it was the next one. And then we have the Tindod Podcast also reviews this one. All right, I'm going to find another one. I'm going to go to, the Sixth Doctor Adventures Purity Unleashed. All right, let's see what that one is, because I dislike Hebe so much. Okay, here we are. So Purity Unleashed, Indie Mac user gives this a 7.5 out of 10. Interesting. Okay, Bad Wolf Podcast. So this is somebody new to the review brigade for this, and basically says Big Finish continues to impress with their abilities to craft compelling narratives with exceptional writing, performances, direction. I need to start maybe putting some of these sentences in my mouth as we review. Maybe we could be focused. I'm not phony. Who am I kidding? Anyway, Mr. TARDIS says that this is a great continuation of the story. Blah, 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 blah. Choose to disagree. All right. And then June 2023, I picked up The War Master, Solitary Confinement. And again, this has 4 stories. I have noped out of this. I have no skin in the game because I no longer care. But for this purpose, I want to figure out who is reviewing these things. And we have, again, Mr. TARDIS. Again, another consistent voice who is reviewing certain things, basically recommending this. So now I'm going to, let's see, I need to find another one just because I think, okay, we're going to go actually, I'm going to do Torchwood Among Us 2. Let's see, reviews. Okay, so we got the Tin Dog Podcast and Indie Mac User. All right. Okay. Now I'm very interested. So now I'm going to go to July. I only was going to do 3 months or 6 months, but now I'm going to go forward. So I'm going to now Unit Nemesis 4, Masters of Time. Oh, there is. Ooh. There's none. Okay. That's interesting. All right. I'm going to do, because I did love Once in Future, A Genius for War. Let's just see what the reviews for that one is. We have Thoroughly Modern Reviewer. So again, poking their head up there once again, 4.5 out of 5. And then Indie Mac User, 7 out of 10. Interesting. All right. Oh, this is fun. I've just gone down a super fun rabbit hole. Okay, now moving to August. All right. Let's see. There is the Diver Song Series 12, the Orphan Quartet. Let's see. Oh, we got some reviews. All right. We have GVN. They are new to our list. So congratulations on being focused on by the Big Finish page. And then we have Indie Mac User, 8 out of 10. All right. Now I'm going to go to continuing on the same month, August 2023. I'm going to do the Sixth Doctor Adventures Purity Unbound. Let's see. Oh, there is no reviews. Speaking volumes, just saying. And then for Humphrey's sake, I'm going to go to Rose Tyler Dimension Canon 3 Trapped. No. There is no reviews and awards. Sadness. Okay. Oh, good. Okay. Doomsday, The Dying Hours, the one that sparked that got me kicked off of a Facebook fan page group. All right. GVN gave it a 7 out of 10. Okay. All right. This is so much fun. Okay, Gallifrey War Room 2 Maneuvers. Okay, let's see what this is. Oh, GVN, 8.5 out of 10. Okay, congratulations, GVN, for being signal boosted there. Now I'm going to go to, now I'm moving on to October, and I have to go to the Passionist Gang, Rogue Galleries, and there is Bad Wolf Productions, 8 out of 10. All right. Once in Future, The Union, that train wreck right there. Oh, nothing for that. Oh, the Omega Factor. Nothing right there. Okay. All right. I will go to, I was just going to do 6 months, but now I'm just going to do the entirety of 2023. And there might not be anything for December, but who knows? Recording this the 27th of January, I'm going to do the 11th Doctor Chronicles, Broken Heart, even though I feel as though that's part of a box set that they pulled apart, I think. I'm not 100% sure. Okay, I'm going to do the 8th Doctor Adventures Audacity. I have listened to that. Okay, and then we have GVN 9 out of 10. All right. Okay, sorry. I was going to say, all right, that's it. But no, I got one more month. All right. So now I'm going to, which one would, okay, I'm going to do the 11th Doctor. Nope, nothing there. I'm going to do Ronnie Takes on the World. Let's see. Nope, nothing there. Okay. I'm going to do, Doctor Who Last Days. Nope. Wow. Okay, well, maybe it's just because it's been so early. All right, 8th Doctor Adventures, Bleak Midwinter. No. All right, so it doesn't look like there's any reviews up yet for the month of December 2023, which, possibly makes sense. But here, I'm going to play this for you, and then I'm going to discuss why I feel as though looking at all of those and do some further discussion is super important to fandom in general, and again, why I believe that the Dr. Alhambra podcast is one of those that I would love for more people to know about and more people to go back, listen to the back catalog, and email the show at alhambraaudio@gmail.com. Again, that is ALHAMBRA audio, no spaces in between, at gmail.com. Or tweet the show at Alhambra Podcast. DMs are open. I'm going to play this. This comes from a YouTube channel about comics that I listen to, but I think that there's a lot here.
It's weird, like Josh said, I ended up having people who would quit sites because they end up and like Josh said, you can't do anything under an 8, and that kind of got to them. So they'd say, hey, can I do a review on your site? And I don't care. So yeah. And then they ask me these weird questions like, okay, well, what's your average that I have to be around? I'm like, what do you mean?
What the fuck are you talking
about?
Yeah,
and they're like, well, at the site I was at, we had to do, but you could go low, but then you had to then reverse it. It was like a makeup call in hockey. You got to end up where you're like, okay, well, I gave a 6, now I have to give a 9.
Now an even up call.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you end up where you have these sites, and most of them, Josh is being nice with a 7. Some of these I've heard 8.5, things like that. And so when you go and look at reviews and you wonder why, and look at it, if you go to Comic Book Roundup, which I hope a lot of people do just to laugh at it, but you end up where the initial scores, the scores that'll hit that you see on Tuesday or Wednesday morning, they're all 10s. They're all 9, 10s. And then you wait for a couple days because the people who don't get the review copies start, getting now all of a sudden we have the 6s and the 3s. And it's a true thing. It really is. So that the shilling that sort of way with reviews, I guess it continues if you keep getting the review copies, because that's all they're doing. And add that to what Josh said, and it's a real thing. I mean, a huge thing of these reviewers wanting to write for the big 2, yet they don't realize it rarely happens. And they just keep doing it, and they end up making themselves a joke. And just as a other final deal, I've had multiple creators talk to me that they think those people who give 10s are a joke. They actually laugh at it and literally say they don't even care about them. It's nice to, skew the thing, but they think they're a joke and don't even think they get what they're doing.
But I think...
All right. So again, I really love that discussion. They were talking about the comic book media, how there's so many shill sites out there that, basically say everything's great, and if you disagree with it, you're you're istrophobe or something like that, or you don't like women, or you don't like minorities or whatever. And it's basically the sites are getting preferential treatment to getting something ahead of time or something else to be able to review these certain things. I don't know regarding what Big Finish is or is not giving. I do know that at one point in time they were giving early access to certain things. Myself and Liam got granted early access to things for about 1 month. Maybe they listened to our back catalog and were like, nope, never mind, we're not doing that. We're just going to tell them that we're not doing that anymore. It's a program that we're closing down. I don't know if that is true, how factual it is or not. Again, myself and Liam, the only thing that we've ever done is we were pulling punches in the hopes of being in the good graces of Big Finish. After kind of that rejection right there, it was like, why are we doing this? Like, some of these are not my feelings surrounding some of these stories. Why are we doing this? If we're just gonna do it just to be phony, like, there is no sole reason for this. And so the reason why I pull up all of those reviewers that are notably constantly thrown out there in Big Finish's reviews and awards or whatever, notable notoriety or whatever, they're the same sites again and again. And the question that you have to ponder and ask is, what are they getting? And are they, kind of like it was discussed? Well, what is the minimum rating that they are allowed to give something in order to continue to get the thing that they're getting for free or early access or getting access to extra things? What is going on? And are they working on their own pitches? Again, that's one of my things and criticisms for the Facebook fan page. Even when I was on there, I always felt as though the main reason why that they were being so scared about criticizing anything of Big Finish was because they wanted to make sure that when they did their Big Finish pitch for Doctor Who or Blake 7 or whatever, that they were seen in the good graces of, making sure that anybody who disparaged anything that Big Finish has created was either snubbed out, removed, or, had at least a stern talking to, because only positivity grows there. There was a Facebook group that I almost joined just out of curiosity, and it was called Doctor Who, the Doctor Who fan, I don't know, I'm going to butcher it, but the Doctor Who fan page for real fans of Doctor Who. And as I was reading the rules, it reminded me a lot of the Big Finish listeners group. And it was, basically all you could do is say how good things are. You could never question anything. You could not, talk bad about a storyline. And the only goal I see is to either be the 10 out of 10, lemming group, or, they were trying to pitch certain things to RTD, BBC, whatever. Like, what is in it for them? And again, one of the main reasons why I find that this podcast right here, today's podcast, the one that you're listening to, is so important is I ask you, go out and listen to so many different podcasts, so many different YouTube channels, and listen to what they're saying. And listen to how they always talk about the thing. Is everything always worse today than it was yesterday? Well, if that's the case, listen to their critiques, but realize that they're kind of shilling for themselves. If they're all 10 out of 10, well, then they're shilling for themselves to get something from something else. Like myself, Liam, Legion have no skin in the game. I try to be as genuine as possible. And I feel as though my, genuineness comes across could come across as toxic. And again, what I said in the previous podcast is I like, fans that believe that, that they have a high standard for, toxic fandom. No, toxic fandom is fans that are passionate about certain things and they have a high standard for what they want. Now, you don't have to bow down to all of them what they want, but you know what? You do need to listen. And I think that was the problem with the Jodie era, is nobody was listening. And I'm partially kind of concerned for RTD Part 2, because I think he already has what he wants to do. And I don't think he would listen if, I think Moffat had to do a 180 on the Skittles Daleks, because I think he listened. He heard the outcry, and it was not good. So he kind of had to do some creative things or whatever. And my problem with RTD Part 2 is everything's canon now. And if everything is canon, nothing is special. Make a definitive canon. When are you going to start, inciting Big Finish? Because apparently that's canon too. If you're going to do that, you need to do a shout out. If not, it's just empty words, and you're just trying to please everybody. Again, our podcast might not be the most gentle at times, but I do think it is the most fair. And I feel as though, and I've said it numerous times, I think it is one of the best Doctor Who podcasts out there because we don't get extra treatment for anything. We buy our own microphones, we buy our own magazines, we buy our own audios. I have my subscription for this. I don't pirate. I don't believe in it because my belief is if I pirate something, well, I don't actually, I'm not willing to put anything towards it. And if I'm not willing to put anything towards it, it's not for me, and I don't really buy into the whole thing. Because if I bought into the whole thing, I would give money to the thing that I believe in. But that's just my opinion. I'm just going to end this podcast right now. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Email the show at alhambraaudio@gmail.com. Tweet the show at Alhambra Podcast. DMs are open. What are your thoughts about review sites? What are your thoughts about our podcast in general? And any other questions that you have, we'd love to hear them. And until next time, I will see you in time.
You have been listening to the Doctor Who Alhambra Podcast. Doctor Who is owned and trademarked by the BBC. Doctor Who Alhambra is not affiliated with the BBC or Big Finish. No infringement is intended. Visit our website at alhambrapodcast.weebly.com or email the show at alhambraaudio@gmail.com. Tweet us at Alhambra Podcast. That is ALHAMBRA Podcast. Thank you.